So how's everybody doing? If you can hear me, just comment, let me know if you guys can hear me same way. Okay, awesome. So guys, I'm going to be actually showing you step by step how you can do your budget from a month to month basis, and I couldn't pick a better time to do this video now that it's what, pay week, or it's probably payday for some. And what majority consider as budgeting is they get their paycheck, am I audible now? So what I was saying, as I was saying before, what majority consider as budgets is that they get their paycheck, they spend, and before you know it, they spend everything, and by the month finish, they want more money to spend. And this is really bad, because what's happening here, two things that is really happening. One, they're saving and spending from the same account, and two, they're trying to save in the same account that they are spending. So once you get your paycheck, you want to separate what you are saving versus what you are spending and what you will be investing. So one of the first things you want to decide on when you're budgeting is a budgeting rule. These are two basic examples, but for each individual, their situation is different, so they might need to adjust accordingly. So here I just use a basic income of $100,000, and I divided it up using the 75-15-10 rule. And then on the other side, you have the 50-30-20 rule, which I believe most people should strive to achieve. And then to go a little bit more extreme, you would then strive for a 10-90. That means you're going to spend 10% of your income and save and invest the other 90%. So when majority talks about the 75-15-10 rule or 50-30-20 rule, they would normally allocate a portion to spending, then another portion to wants, and then they divide up save and investing as one. But I think that is a bad practice to separate your spending from your wants. You should put your wants in your spending. So now you don't have a separate category for wants, you're going to include that in your regular spending. So your wants should fall under this category, your spending. And for your savings, this should be considered as, if you don't have an emergency fund, this is what you need to be doing. Saving, saving, saving. Save as much as possible until you hit your emergency fund of, say, minimum 3 months. When you get to 3 months, you try and push it to 6 months. After 6 months, then you try and push it to 1 year. While you're doing that, you're trying to build up some investment funds at the same time. So you're growing both your emergency fund as well as your investing fund. Any question thus far? So once you get your paycheck, you're going to automatically divide it in 3 portions. The first thing you're going to do is save and set aside your saving portion as well as your investing portion. So you're going to have separate accounts for these, and before you start spending any money, you make sure you set those 2 portions aside. And the budgeting template I'm using is Google Sheets. You can also download the app from the Play Store as well as the App Store. It is free and easy to use. You can also find budgeting apps out there, but this is very straightforward, simple Excel sheet that anyone can download and modify to suit their needs. So this is what the standard template looks like. Come with some predefined categories. You have food, gift, health, medical, home, transportation, personal, pets, utilities, debt, other, and you can customize it to whatever you want. So for here, we don't have any investing, so I'm going to put invest here. And also I'm going to add emergency. Let's put savings for now. And when your emergency fund or your savings account is fully, or it reaches the limit that you want, then what you're going to do, you're going to stop saving and put that portion towards the investing portion. So you're going to end up with, if you started out with 75-15 rule, over time you're going to end up with 75-25, because you don't want to be saving too much money, as inflation is going to be eating that away. And if you want to save to buy something short term, then you can always have a separate savings account to take care of that. So the first thing you want to do is set out how much you will be getting from your paycheck. If you're going to get some bonus, you can add in that as well. If you add additional income like dividends, you can also add it here. So I'm going to be putting in the 100,000 which I had earlier. So I'm assuming that's what you'll be getting for your paycheck. Now For everybody it's going to be different, and I'm just doing a basic example here, and the goal is to ensure that everything is accounted for. So how much you're going to spend on food, transportation, your utilities, and what you're going to do after you set out the categories. Each and every day you make a transaction, then you're going to track it in the transaction template. So for income, let's say you did expect $100,000 and you get an extra $10,000 in overtime or something along that line, then you can say 110. And then you're going to select the category as paycheck. Is that 110 or it's a million? So you're here to reflect that your actual is 110,000. So let's say for food you're going to spend, your budget is $10,000, right? So you're going to come here and add $10,000. Do you plan to give any form of gift for that month? Then you can say $2,000. And how much do you plan to put towards, let's increase food to about 20. Medical, more often than not you might not have any medical emergency, so let's keep it at say 2.5. Maybe that's the cheapest for a doctor visit now. And for home, this can be your mortgage or your rent. So whatever you put for, whatever you pay for your mortgage or your rent on a monthly basis, then you're going to add that portion here. So let's put 30,000. And then for transportation, this will vary again, whether you're paying, whether you're taking a bus or you're driving a car. So let's say taking taxi or take bus, so we're gonna put this to about 7,000 per week. Personal, what do you plan to do for yourself? Like on a monthly basis, some people. Hi Melissa, welcome. Thanks for joining everyone. I'm just doing a live example of how I budget on a month-to-month basis. And this is what I did for the last 3 to 4 years. So personal, let's say you plan to treat yourself. Plan to go to the hairdresser, do something nice. So let's say 5,000. More often than not, you don't have any pets, so let's look at utilities. So you're going to factor in your internet bill, your water bill, which other bills is there? Internet, your water, your light bill. So that's what, 3. So let's say water is 2,000. Light is $5,000, and internet, let's say that's 16. How much did I calculate that for? Say it's 6,000, right? 5, that's 11. Say 13,000. But the first two things that I should have actually put in was, let me see what the 25 thing says. So let me deduct the savings and the investment portion first. So for savings, 15,000. So for investing, that's 10,000 each month, and for saving and building your emergency. Yeah, I believe I mentioned the light bill. So let's put utilities to overall amount of 15,000. Hey, thanks for joining here and more 15,000. Now let's look. See, we're over budget. So that means we have a problem. So the first thing we are going to have to try and do here is cut something. So because we need to reach $100,000, because that's what we budgeted for. We budget, the income was $100,000, and let's say the practical paycheck came to 110. That means I need to reduce my budget now, so it goes to $100,000. The whole way it should be reached should be going to $110,000 if I plan to increase the amount that I'm going to save and invest. So right now we have a problem. What can I cut? So the easiest thing would be to cut would be your gifts and then your personal. Struggle is real. Budgeting on $100,000. Is it possible to save on food? Right. So let's bring food to 18.5, and that's how you'd budget on a monthly basis. Now, while you go throughout the month and then you start to spend, you'll realize that for some area you might say, for instance, your budget for traveling was 7,000 and overall you spent 5,000. So what you actually do on a daily basis though, for instance, your fare is how much per day? Let's say 200. Then you would come on the transaction side and enter 200. Then you select your category and say traveling, where is it? And then you select traveling, and then transaction. No, add transportation, but transportation. So here your actual should be reflected as you spending $200 for that day. So now let's say for the entire month you spent $4,000. All of this, that what I'm doing here, you can always do it using the Google Sheets app from the Google Play Store or the App Store. So it will actually show you total savings for that month once you add in all the transactions. So let's say your utilities go over for some reason, then let's say you end up spending $16,000. Utilities. Then it will be shown that you're in the red for that month. And when you keep on doing this on a monthly basis, you know exactly how much you need to right. When you do this each and every month, you know exactly how much you need for your emergency fund over the long run, and you know exactly where you can save some more money or where you can allocate some more money if needed. And for the extra money now, which was the $10,000 in overtime, we have two options. We have three options. We can add it all to your investing, or if you want to build your savings and emergency funds a bit faster, then you can then allocate it to your saving and investing. So let's say that's $25,000. So each and every month you'll be saving, in total you'll be saving approximately $35,000. And if you don't have an emergency fund, you need to prioritize that because anything can happen. And then for your investing, you can always build up your investing account until you have enough to start an equity, a mutual fund or a REIT, if that is what you want to, a mutual fund or what's the other one? Or a unit trust, because sometimes it varies from broker to broker the amount that you need to start the account with. For example, a unit trust at NCB might be $100,000, while it might be $200,000 at JMB. So don't quote me on this, guys. It varies. I'm just giving you examples. So if you plan to do like a unit trust or a mutual fund, then you need to save up that initial investment. And once you have that initial investment, then you can start investing that $10,000 on a monthly basis. However, if you're going to go the route of investing in individual stocks, then you can always start your account, and then with the help of a financial advisor, you can start selecting your individual stocks, because it might take some time to research, and you don't want to just start investing and then you're going to put your hard-earned money at risk without having knowledge of what you're doing. It's good to learn by mistakes, but I'm not going to encourage that when you're just starting out. Any questions? And then let's see what's the upcoming month. April, all you do is name this April 2022. And then for the coming month, you can just make a copy of it. And then you say April, May 2022. Very easy to do, guys. Very easy to keep track of your money and see where your money is going. So there shouldn't be another month where the month come, month finish, and you be like you don't know where all your money went. Hope you guys have been practicing these things I've been sharing with you, because I know they might seem easy, but then when it comes down to do it, nobody actually do it, and then the problem keeps on coming back. I don't know where my money went, and I can't save, I can't invest, and all of that. You have to start practicing these little things, and before you know it, it becomes a habit. So even when you go on the road, purchase a bottle of water, $100 for it. You open up a little spreadsheet, and then you add it under, where is it, food? Right, you can always add it under food, or you can always have a miscellaneous category, and then any other little thing that you did not budget for, you can have it there. But when you have a budget like this, you realize that if a miscellaneous happen, you are going to be in the red. Where are you going to get the money to fund, to take care of that miscellaneous expense? And this is where another type of emergency fund comes in place, a short-term emergency fund. And this short-term emergency fund will save you from what you call it, payday loans, credit card debt. It will save you from those little things. So that short-term emergency fund is like the exact amount of a month's salary. So you know your month's paycheck would be $100,000, then you can keep $100,000 in that short-term emergency fund. Welcome, Blue Collar Finance. Guys, these things are so simple and easy to do, but a lot of people fail to do it. I don't know why, but it's too easy for you. It's too easy to do for you not to do it. If you're just joining, I'm just showing how I budget on a monthly basis, and this is how you can start budgeting as well. It's not complicated, guys. It's really simple and easy to do. Any questions so far? Everybody good? Everybody's going to start taking action after this video is completed. And I know you guys are going to start earning passive income if you have not started it as yet. So you have tracked your expense, you also need to keep track of your income. So when you start getting your little dividends check, you're going to start small and then you're going to grow them, or your income from your affiliate marketing. Then you're going to also add it to this section. So let's say you get a dividend check for $200, you're going to have it here. You can give it a description. Dividend. And then you can select one of these categories. You can also rename the category if you wish and say dividend, but I'm going to just leave it as that for now. And then if you're receiving affiliate income as well, let's say $1,000. And then you add whatever category you want to call it here. when you get good at this, two things you really don't have to keep track of. You don't have to keep track of these two on the same spreadsheet because you automatically know how much you're going to save and invest already. But as for starters, you definitely need to start keeping track of it. You need to see how much you invest for the hair and how much you save for the hair. It really takes discipline, but once you keep on doing it, it just become like a normal routine. It's like you getting up daily and brushing your teeth. It becomes a part of you and something that you just automatically do it. So on a monthly basis it becomes a routine for you. Because I was looking back on some of my previous budget and I compared the March 2019 one to my 2021 budget, and they were almost identical in the amount that I spent. So even though my income increased over the years, I didn't change how much I spent. So my spending stayed the same. Only thing would have impacted it a little bit would have been inflation. And on that note, a lot of people find it hard to save like 6% or even 5% of their income. But if inflation was supposed to go to 10% tomorrow, you're going to pay that 10% indirectly. So you can start making the little sacrifices and say, if you can't do 10%, alright, let me start with 3. When you start with 3, you work your way up to 4%, and then over time, you reach 20% and you did not realize when you got there. But it definitely takes some discipline and practice and effort, and it will become like a walk in the park. Any questions? And I recently heard that, like, I don't know how true it is, I heard it like the police them now and probably get some retroactive money. But this is what is going to happen to the majority. 10% is going to probably save some, 90% is probably going to spend the others. The other 90% of them is going to spend it all, and then they're going to all be back in the same position. So when you get, what I recommend when you get a lump sum like that, two things you have to check. Where's my emergency fund? Right? If you don't have an emergency fund, you allocate all of that money or bonus or whatever it is to your emergency fund and pretend like nothing happened. So if you get $300,000 in retroactive payment or $300,000 in bonus, and you don't have emergency fund, then all of that money needs to be pushed towards an emergency fund, right? And then you just continue to live your life like nothing happened. And these are the things that give you some financial edge. That means you don't have to rely too much on your job because you have a little cushion somewhere that in the worst case, if you have to call it a day, you have something that you can balance on. You don't have to be scrambling and wondering what are you going to do. You have something that you can use to sustain you for a while. If you want to start a business, you already have some money that you can use to live on or fund that business. Thank you, the Islander Network. Can emergency fund be? Can the emergency fund go under the one bank? Yes, you can, because I think for me it's easier to have everything in one place. Many don't recommend that, but I don't see any issues with it because it's easier to move from one bank account to the next without any possibilities of paying any form of transaction fee, and unless you're going to be having that portion be deducted directly from what do you call it now, having payroll manage that portion. But let's say you have some extra money in your account and you want to send it to the bank, you're going to pay some extra fee if it's even $10, and everything matters because the bank is not giving you $10 on your money. So you have to save on every little fee where you can. Everything matters. And remember guys, when you reach to that limit where let's say you need $500,000 for your emergency fund, the moment you hit that $500,000 as your emergency fund, that's where it stops. You don't add any more to it unless you want to push it for like a year, or if $500,000 is good for you for 1 year, then everything else on top of that you're going to be seeking to invest that money, because inflation is going to be eating that cash away. And even though you have low risk investments, you want to have your emergency fund as accessible as possible. Yes, that as well. It might take a couple of days, but that shouldn't be an issue because it's not money you're going to need right away. So the couple of days it will take is fine. It's just that you will pay some extra fees. But if you want it out of sight, that's a good way to keep it at another bank where you probably don't have any card to it. So it makes it more difficult for you to access that money. So there will be advantages of having it at another institution. Any other questions? And once you have this little backbone, guys, this right here, this is the foundation for great things. This is the start. And over time, like I said, it will become a routine where you don't even have to think about how much you're going to spend on food. You automatically know it. And you're going to reach a point where you don't really need to even budget, but because it becomes a part of you, you're going to do it just the same, because I know exactly how much I'll be spending on a monthly basis. But I still do it. I still keep track of how much I do spend. And I always encourage individuals to run their lives like a company, because the company you work for, they can tell you how much they spent last year, and they can tell you how much they're going to be spending probably next year if they reach that time where they make their budget. So you, as an individual, you should look at yourself and try do what the company is doing. If they have a 5-year plan, why not have a 5-year plan for yourself? Those are the things that are important. I've never said this before, but I'm gonna say it now, but because one of for me one of the biggest thing, and one of the most important thing that I knew was that I was working on the company's 5-year plan. And then when I realized that, it hit me and I said, okay, if I'm going to be working on a company's 5-year plan, why not work on a 5-year plan for yourself? If I'm going to help the company achieve this, why not do this for myself and see where I can get in the 5 years? You might not get everything you want, but at least you'll get some out of it. So in the long run, you're benefiting and the company is benefiting. And these things I'm sharing with you for free, guys. These are what you pay for a one-on-one coaching session. You probably won't get this anywhere free, and I'm here giving you free. Any other question, guys, before I end this live? And there's one, I overlooked this little category here. This little section, you want to maintain this in the 0 as long as possible. You want to keep this section at 0 as long as you can. Let me tell you why. It is important to keep this little section at 0 because, how to put this, you don't want to start developing any form of dependency until you figure out where you want to head in life, and dependency on a single source of income until you figure out what you want to do in life. Because when you have this, let's say you have this at 30,000, you need to start figure out how you can generate this without having a job, right? If you have this paying on a monthly basis, you need to start asking yourself like, how long can you sustain this without an income? Because life too happens and anything can happen at any point in time. So you want to keep this at zero as long as possible until you figure out certain things. So when you start to grow like your passive income, then when your passive income reaches to a level, then you can say, alright, it's okay to take on certain amount of debt now because I have some passive income that can offset this. And what I realized with a lot of young individuals, especially between the ages of 25 and 30, their priority is buying a car. And this, the ages of 25 to 30 is the ages that you should be prioritizing investing and getting ahead financially, not supporting or funding the banks before time. Let me put it that way. But what happens is that a lot of people learn this a bit late and then they try to catch up, because sometimes this type of information is not readily available. Some of the things that I share with you are the things that I implement and I learn along the way, and I wish I knew them from when I was like 15. The earlier you have this type of information and practice and implement, the better it is for you. So I'll be here for another 14 minutes and questions. So if you're just joining, I was talking about how you can budget on a monthly basis. This is the exact strategy I've been using. This is the same budgeting template that I've been using for the last 3 to 4 years. I don't even remember, it feels like a long time now. And every month before I get paid, this is exactly what I do. And before I spend any money, I take care of these two things first. And then eventually it was this one. So once this live is ended, I'll be making the video available, so who missed the initial portion of it can watch it. If you have any questions, you can always ask. Don't be shy now. I'll also be leaving the link to this template in the description for you to access it. But you can easily find it from Google Sheets. It will be here at the top. And once you select it, you can just edit it and make the categories to suit your needs. So this is what the default template looks like. And guys, make sure you're taking action on the two last videos I did on affiliate marketing. Make sure you're taking action on them, because when you start now, you won't have to look back 5 years later and say, I wish I did start this. Because when I'm looking back on it, I wish someone would have told me that at the age of 23, when you started working, especially in the tech field, document everything that you did and put it on the internet on a blog. I wish I had someone to tell me that then. Welcome, Odin. Still got a few more minutes, and I was just sharing the budgeting strategy and template that I've been using for the last 4 years. Well, I think it's 4 now or 5. It's been so long. It has actually become a part of me. So even though I don't really need a budget now, I still do it. Any questions before I go, guys? The spreadsheet is actually from Google Sheets. You can just go on Google. Once you have a Google account, sign in, go to googlesheets.com. And you'll find all these nice fancy sheets available where you can even do like a yearly budget. recommend investing while paying off debt? Interesting question. It depends on the interest. It depends on the interest rate of the debt. If the debt is too high, like over 10%, I would recommend try and clearing that debt first, and then you invest, because clearing that debt is indirectly a way of investing, because it's, like, I would say it's difficult. The average market returns, like using the S&P 500, is like 10%. So if you can get that out of the way and not paying 10% interest or paying something less, then it's okay enough. And if you have a stable income that you know over time you can always balance that, you can always balance your debt and your investment, then you can do that. But if it's a case where you're not sure of your income, it is not stable enough, then I think it would be best to prioritize clearing off your debt and then focus on investing. Once you have the knowledge of investing, you might want to keep your debt as low as possible, and then instead of having that, using that money to clear all the debt, if only if the interest rate is low, then you capitalize and then you invest as much as possible and take time to your debt along the way, because then your capital gains and your compound interest will definitely outweigh the amount over time that you would pay in interest on a low interest debt. But as I was mentioning a bit earlier, it's good to keep this section at 0 as long as possible. Always let's see the portfolio. This is the portfolio right here. Let's see the portfolio. Maybe in the future I'll do a breakdown, but probably not a reveal. So as it stands right now, I have 2 portfolio, one on the Jamaica Stock Exchange and in the Jamaica stock market, where that's 100%, where that's 100% individual stocks, and then I have one on the New York Stock Exchange, where I buy majority of my investments using TD Ameritrade, and for that now majority of my investments are in ETFs. I have a small portion in individual stocks, so like about 60 to 7% is allocated towards ETFs. So has anyone started their investment account as yet? Any newbie here? And if you want me to do more lives, you can definitely let me know. You can leave it in the chat or message me on Instagram, or I'll leave it in the comment section, anyone you rather, because I know sometimes some people are shy and they like to to be unseen or unknown. Awesome, bro, awesome. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll be ending the live now, so look out for more videos to come.